Creativity is absolutely crucial. I think to our identity as a country. We've got one of the most vibrant creative industries anywhere in the world, whether it's whether it's advertising services, or whether it's television, whether it's theatre, whether it's film. It's an incredibly vibrant place to live when it comes to creativity. The question is, how do you measure that?
If we don't have better resources than anyone else, and we don't as a country, we're small and tiny, we don't have any oil, we don't have any coal, we don't have wheat fields, we can't feed ourselves. We've got nothing as a country. If we don't use our brains better than everybody else to outthink other people, we're in trouble. France has got the same population as us, but twice the land mass. America, Russia, China, and have massive land masses. We don't have anything like that. We don't have any natural resource that we can draw on. We have to be able to outthink other people.
It's about using email, it's about using Bluetooth and texting, it's about using letters, it's about using good old-fashioned tele-advertising. All of those are components. I think sometimes the mix has changed, but you're still making a cake with the same ingredients, but you're just changing the nature of those ingredients and how they come together.
It was in Mad Men, funnily enough. I saw one of the phrases Don Draper said to Peggy, you're an artisan, not an artist. And I think it would be good for everyone in the advertising industry to remember that we are artisans, we are delivering products, we're not artists. Okay. Obviously, when you talk about Creative Britain, there are artists within that mix, but they're doing something different. But certainly in the advertising industry, I think it's important to remember that we're artisans, not artists.
If I break it down to being really simplistic, it's about finding out from a client what is your problem, and then finding the right solution, and then being able to pull upon the right partners and people to then make that happen.
Brands need to read widely. I mean, the people in your marketing departments, I think, need to understand a bit now about physics, about behavioural economics, about some of the innovations happening in filmmaking, about what type of mobile apps are catching on, because you are one innovation away from being history. Some 17-year-old in a bedroom could come up with a much smarter way of delivering the service you're delivering. So I think it's, think like that 17-year-old.
You try and make something visually rich and interesting and emotionally connecting that works, because otherwise it's just art. So advertising has always got this sort of, what does it do behind it? And the fact that this is not easy, I think, attracts me to advertising. I think that's a really interesting thing to do, because otherwise you're just an artist. And anyone can be an artist, anyone can be a good artist or a bad artist, but there's no purpose of it.
I'm making a career of coming second in pitches, I think. I'm making a career of going to a pitch and then saying, we love your idea, it's brilliant, it's innovative, it's changing the world, da 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 da, but actually we're going to go with the safe option because that's where we know. So I think, yes, I'd like more people to make more risks, but I also recognise that's not easy for people.
We'd all got lazy and we'd got focused on doing shiny new things rather than doing profitable things. There's a general consensus that we need to get back to the basics of marketing, which is about understanding consumers and giving them something that they want and something that's distinctive. We have to do it in a new way where consumers can participate in that and are increasingly generating content.
And so the extent to which what I might call people with intuition, insight, human understanding have been denied access to the really big problems that face mankind is actually evidence of an economic failing. It's actually an evidence of inefficiency. The extent to which problem solving is often monopolised by people who are quite narrow-minded, don't really understand people very well. Engineer is, broadly speaking, someone with a mild case of Asperger's. That's what makes a successful engineer. Okay, and the extent to which accountants, engineers, financiers have been allowed to monopolise problem solving has actually led to enormous economic inefficiencies and indeed real cases of waste and damage. One of the nice things about creative solutions is sometimes they're really, really cheap.
Clients want you to understand their brands. They want to know that you understand how to use an idea to demonstrate the value of that brand, how that brand might be useful, and that's what they want you to do. And at a technical level, they want you to know how to position them specifically and segment appropriately and target sparingly. And these are, it's a simple game made complicated by fools, as Bill Shankly said about football.
There's something interesting about British creativity, which is, I think, it feels like it doesn't take itself too seriously, which I guess is a bit of a national characteristic, and somehow because of that it's very playful, and it can go in many different places, and somehow it's more liberated to try and tap into that universal truth that's at the heart of any great piece of art or creativity that just nails something that is absolutely true about the world and speaks to you and allows you to connect with it and understand a much bigger issue or story, or effectively understand your world through something that's been presented to you.
Music education is disappearing from schools. Art education is being slimmed down because there's an obsession with learning French or English, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I think you do need to have basic skills, maths, English and so on. But we also need to look at what we are as a country. And as a country, we probably need more creative people, because that's what's fueling our growth.
I think we've just been so narrow in the application of what we imagine the creative industry, what the application of creativity is in the creative industries. It's about selling stuff only. It's clearly not just about selling stuff. Not even just about selling stuff at a premium price, making it look, feel, seem nicer. It's about actually making it better, and actually solving problems in communities.
The biggest problem in our industry is we don't separate ideas from execution. So what we do is we say, right, it'll cost you X number of hours. We make all our hours doing execution. So consequently, we give our creativeness and our strategy away for nothing, and then we charge a lot of account management time to create value around what is the idea. I think that's the big challenge for our industry.
I struggle to separate the emotional and the rational. And the reason why I struggle with that is to be emotional is to be rational. As humans, we use our emotions to order information around us. We use emotions to make better, quicker, more instinctive decisions.
Any change at all is a time of great creativity. I think that whether that change is to do with the fact that we don't have any money anymore, or whether it's to do with human behaviour is changing, or whether it's to do with there's new technology, or whether it's to do with the banks collapsing. Anything that is a period of flux is a period of great excitement for me, because that is when you've got a chance to redefine things. That's when all the opportunities come around, when the world's in a state of change.
It would be nice always if there was a proper purpose idea that sat behind it that could be measured in social terms, because that's, if we're going to do this thing, we may as well do something of social value. And we're just human beings, right? Yeah. And we're just trying to affect them from doing that thing to do that. But wouldn't it be great if, that you could measure it in terms of joy or smiles?
Don't get confused with things you like. Creativity is full of things you don't like. But the richest, most productive, most creative world we can live in is one with a huge breadth of difference.
And the way that we use young girls on the catwalk who haven't even developed their bodies yet, which then gets young women everywhere, young girls, not even 20, 25, starting to worry about cellulite or having liposuction, madness. And this self-absorption that I buy into as much as anybody else, that we women have got to look perfect all the time, it's crazy. And so I beg the industries that are perpetuating that to stop it and start looking at authentic messaging, not just things that are actually damaging self-esteem.
I definitely believe that there is a role for capturing consumer ideas and working with some of them, and allowing them to create content, of course. But I do think there is a magic that happens with a creative team and a planner that can really kind of elevate and take ideas on.
So I think, creativity is the ultimate way really to solve a lot of our problems. If you look at a lot of the solutions we have, it'd be the creative people that solve them. It's not going to be the accountants, it's not going to be the bureaucrats. Bureaucrats solve nothing. They just make the world a worse place to be. Get rid of a lot of them, in my opinion. They're worse than number crunchers. At least number people are dealing with something real. Bureaucrats are like a kind of nothingness in the middle. So I think creativity can solve a lot of our problems. We just need to apply it.
Technology can add the machinery. It's the creativity that will add the value to our lives, the things that will make our lives easier, more useful, or just sexier.